Hey guys, I'm going to be talking about the K1 visa application process, and this is going to be the first step, which is the form I-129F. And basically, I'm just going to talk about my fiance and I's experience with this and also what we put in the packet. So, first off, our experience is a little different than normal because I filed the petition while I'm living in Ireland with my foreign fiance. Usually, I, the US citizen, the petitioner, would be in the States and would be filing for my foreign fiance who is living overseas. But I'm actually here studying my master's, and instead of waiting for me to go back to the States, we decided to go ahead and file while I was here so that hopefully, if we have a gap, it will be small, but we might not even have a gap, is the plan. First of all, that was different, and I wanted to make sure that I could file while I was away, but I had a hard time looking online, finding out information, but then I found out you could email your local center, and I did that. And ours happened to be in London since we're in Ireland. Our jurisdiction was in London. I emailed them, they got back to me within a week, I want to say, and they basically said it was fine that I was filing while overseas, that for the filing fee, that I needed to get an international bank draft done at a bank here in US dollars for the filing fee. So that's basically what we did. So in our form I-129F, you also have to include, extra evidence and extra things in your packet overall. So we already sent ours off and I didn't get any video of it, but I'm just going to run over what we put in ours. So I created a table of contents where I've seen a lot of people did a cover letter, but basically it's the same thing as a cover letter, and other packets I've seen made things seem a little bit more streamlined for me. So in that I put table of contents for K1 visa application, and then my name, Sarah Smith, petitioner, and my fiance's name, Sean Bazadenhout, alien fiance. So I'll insert a picture of this so that you can see everything. And then I just numbered it. So I have 1 to 9, and then number 9 is the proof of relationship. So that has 10 sections within number 9 of all the different types of evidence we included. So I'll just run through those. So number 1 was the filing fee, which is an international bank draft and receipts for those. But actually, the way I did it was in this folder that had page protectors that were sealed into the binder, if you get what I mean. So I had done the whole thing, and then I realized, oh no, I have to put the check in, the filing fee to begin with. But so what I did was I put it in an envelope and wrote on it filing fee, for this, and then had me and my fiance sign and date it since we were doing it together. And I put that in the first page where I had this table of contents. I just slid that down in it. Then what I did was I attached the receipt for the international bank check that showed that my fiance was the one who applied for it and got it at the bank here in Ireland, and I just put that at the back. So I figured if they need to find it, they'll flip through the whole thing and find it. Number 2 is form G1145, which basically is a form saying electronically contacting us. Then I did form I-129F, which we printed off, filled out, signed, dated, the whole thing. And then I did a supplement. So number 4 is form I-129F, supplement for question 34, point A, explanation of how we met. I titled the top of that and then just put how we met in person, but our story's a little different because we met in person. And then basically we started, dating while I was living here, and then we ended up actually moving in together. And so we've lived together for almost our whole relationship. So that's even more proof, which is a little bit different than most people who are applying for this. I tried to be detailed, but not too detailed, because obviously our whole relationship we've been in person. So then number 5 is for Form G325A times 2. So one for me, Sarah Smith, the petitioner, and one for Sean, the alien fiance. Fill that out, sign and date it, make sure both of you do that. And then you have number 6 is photographs times 2. One for me and one for Sean. For our photographs, I put them in this little envelope that it came in, and I wrote on it like photograph of Sarah Smith, photograph of Sean, and then signed and dated it. Just put that in the same pocket as the Form G325A for each person that it corresponded with. I have to do number 7, proof of my, Sarah Smith's, U.S. citizenship. So I just included my birth certificate, front and back. My mom scanned it to me, and then I printed off a color copy because it said copies are fine. So she scanned it front and back, and then she also scanned me the smaller version of my birth certificate, so I also included that in as well, and I signed and dated that as well. Number 8, original statements of intent to marry times 2, one for me, Sarah, and one for Sean. I made those, and I had watched another video where someone said that they got an RFE, and I think that's a request for evidence, I believe, based on their intent to marry, that they weren't sure, they needed more information that they really intended to marry. So I did the basic letter of saying, within 90 days of his arrival, we're planning on getting married. I included a little bit of our plans. So we're planning on getting married in my local church by my stepfather, who is a ordained minister and is legally able to marry us, with just small family and friends when we first get there. So when Sean arrives, so probably within the first month, we'll just go ahead and do that. Then we're planning a large wedding and ceremony with all of our friends and family, including Sean's family, in November of 2017. I wanted to just go ahead and do that, like have a separate ceremony where we knew that his family, because a lot of his family is coming from South Africa, so they have to apply for visas, they have to save up, it costs them a lot to be able to come over. So we wanted to make sure everyone could plan and have adequate time and not rush it, because with this process you don't know when your foreign fiance will be able to move to the States. You can't really plan a wedding far in advance. So we decided to go ahead and just do 2 separate ceremonies, but obviously the first one will be legally binding. We'll submit the information to the US government and prove that I married Sean and that it was within 90 days to fulfill the visa requirements. So I just put information about that in, and I figured if we do get an RFE, we can have my stepfather write a letter saying that he's going to marry us. I can get a letter officially from the church saying they're letting us marry there. And the people that I saw, it didn't really delay their process that much. They started the process in July and they got their visa by November, which we're really hoping is what we're doing, because we started in July and we're hoping we'll get it by November. So after the original statements of intent to marry, which we signed and dated both of those as well. And the reason I'm saying sign and dating the whole time is that all the videos I've seen of people who have approved I-129F applications, they've signed and dated everything. Now we're on to number 9, which is the final category, but this, remember, has 10 separate categories within it. This is the proof, the evidence of our relationship. So I just wrote proof of relationship and have met within 2 years of filing Form I-129F. So the first thing I included was photographs, and this was from our entire relationship. And basically what I did was I created a photo slideshow where I wrote the month and the year and included pictures from each month of our relationship. So this started for us in September of 2015 and continued all the way up until July of 2016 when we got engaged. My mom came to visit in May, so Sean got to meet my mom and my stepfather then, and we took pictures together, so I included that, which I think is going to be huge evidence showing our, families met. And in June and July of this year, me and Sean went to visit his family in South Africa, and so I have pictures from that trip and pictures of me and his mom and me and his grandma and me and his cousins and things. So that really shows that we've met each other's families, really have a genuine relationship. So that's what I did. I made a slideshow. It was a lot of work, and then we signed and dated every single page of that, and it was like over 45 pages that we ended up printing off color pictures. Um, but I just did it in a slideshow form. So just make a PowerPoint presentation and put in the pictures in each day, and then I included like a little bit of a explanation of the picture if I could, like if I knew what we were doing. Then samples of regular phone calls. So these were just screenshots, and I have an iPhone, and my iPhone didn't go back very far, so I just included the last 3 months and basically show that we talk about 5 times a week. We call each other. And that's basically when he's coming home from work, he'll call me and tell me, oh, I'm off work now, I'm coming home, do you need anything? But just to show that, we do talk on the phone, because a lot of these packets, especially if you're long distance, is going to be Skype messages, phone, text messages, Facebook messages, all those types of things. But since we live together, it's a little bit harder in a way to show evidence of an ongoing relationship, because we don't have all that talk, because we just talk to each other. We see each other all the time. Examples of Skype calls, also screenshots, and now this was all the way back to originally right before we met in person. So we first started Skyping each other like the end of August of 2015, and like then it was a long distance because Sean was away from Ireland, and we did that for about 2 weeks or so, and then he came back to Ireland and we decided to meet up. And so I have all those logs and different Skypes, and then I went home at Christmas, and so I have the Skype logs from there, and then like some of our conversations saying like, we missed each other and all those things. And we signed and dated, both of us, each one of those. Now, I'm not sure how important it is to sign and date for your fiance, except for the documents that revolve around them. So, like their intent to marry, definitely have them sign and date it. Their G325A, I believe you have to sign and date that, so make sure they do that. And it has to be original, not photocopies, so they have to mail it to you if you're separate. But if you're together or you're visiting and you're doing this while you're visiting, then definitely have them sign and date everything that pertains to both of you, because I think it just will be better. We live with a housemate who is an Irish girl, and so we had a letter from housemate. So our housemate Emma wrote that for us. So it's proof of living together in relationship. I just had her type up a letter that said, she's lived with me since last August and lived with Sean since October, and that she's seen our whole relationship, and that we're like a little family, and that that we really do intend to marry within 90 days, and that we've talked about the wedding plan both before we got engaged and after, that this is something we want. Like, obviously this is not necessary, especially if you don't live with your fiance and you don't live with a housemate. Then I included the engagement ring picture, but this is actually in the photograph section. I didn't think it was necessary to include it again, but I just wrote engagement ring picture here and receipt. Definitely include this, because the couple that I was telling you about that got the RFE, they said that they didn't include the engagement ring picture and receipt in the first application, and that they included it in their RFE. Then I included plane tickets to Ireland for me. So to prove that I actually came to Ireland, printed them off, just my itinerary, signed and dated, from both when I originally came here in August and then when I came back at Christmas as well. Then I included the passport stamps to Ireland and my passport stamps to South Africa. Mine were all mixed together, so I just included it all here in this part, but I put 2 separate categories just because it made more sense to me. But obviously they'll look through and see that I went to Ireland, I went to South Africa. Here you go. Then I did a copy of the student visa to Ireland, because I have a student visa, and I included you get like a immigration card here. So I included a copy of that as well, and I signed and dated it. Then we included plane tickets to South Africa for both me and Sean. And then I also found 2 ticket stubs to another flight that we had in South Africa to Cape Town. So I included those as well. I dated those. And then I included Sean's passport stamps to South Africa to show that he was also there. And that was the packet. And then, like I said, I included the receipt for the international bank check at the end there. I signed and dated everything. If it just pertained to the one person, I just had that person sign and date it. That's basically what we have done. We just filed this last Thursday, so July 21st. So I'm hoping sometime this week we'll get a notification saying that they've received our application. I'm deciding to go ahead and put this up because whether it goes through or not, it's part of our journey. So I'm going to put it up, and then of course I'll do a follow-up video if it's approved, if we need an RFE, whatever. Just keep you guys updated. Hopefully once we get notified that we can do the interview, we'll do the interview process, what we're going to include, and I'll actually be going with Sean to the interview because I'll be here. So just talk about the K1 visa process from a different angle than is really talked about. And there's not very many videos of women who are applying for their male foreign fiancé. So if that's you in this instance, it can be done. Working on it. And if you have any questions about this or want to see something specific that I included, I have copies of all of it. I just don't have a video of the actual application because I wanted to get it out as soon as possible, and by the time I finish signing and dating everything on that specific date, the post office is going to close, and I didn't want to wait any longer, so I just wanted to send it off. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.